Coming up on Let's Get to the Points.
Tonight, we're going to talk about our points and miles mistakes that we've made over the years.
My travel F-ups start way before points and miles. I was pregnant with my son, so this is about 18 years ago. I literally called the ticket agent and was crying. She goes, ma'am, I can rebook you, but it's going to cost $180. I'm pregnant and I have like mommy brain. And she's like, would you like to use a credit card to pay for that?
Another one that I think Nicole really likes is when I redeemed United Miles for an iPad.
I think like is a strong word, okay? Maybe like loathe.
If you want a real mistake from me, a real let's talk about this little love letter that I got in the mail.
Wait, what credit card is that?
I didn't even know that they have one of those yet.
There's so many more questions. Do you have the A&A card too?
Oh, wow.
Now, let's get to the points. She loves to pretend being a crazy rich Asian. It's Serena. Sometimes his journey is the destination. It's Miguel. She takes family budget travel to another level. It's Nicole. And he only lies flat over the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean. It's Mitch Shannon.
Hi there, and thank you for joining us on Let's Get to the Points video and audio podcast, where we bring you the very best in tips and tricks in the world of miles, points, and travel. I'm Mitch Shannon, joined by my co-hosts who love traveling the world with their families using their credit card points and miles. First up, it's our faithful leader when it comes to diversifying our points and miles. It's Serena.
Hi, everyone.
He's been known to fly to Japan and back just for the first class experience. It's our Miguel.
Hey, what's up?
And her travel calendar, it's booked solid until further notice. It's Nicole.
Hi guys, how are you?
Please help us out by clicking that subscribe button now to our YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you watch or listen. Also, give us a like and leave us a comment below and let us know what you think about our show. Now it's time to do it. Let's get to the points. Welcome to show 50, you all. I'm still shocked we've made it this far. You know, people still watching us, listening to us, you know, full steam ahead.
Yay!
I mean,
50 is huge.
Century.
Half a century. Okay. Oh, we are getting very close to our first points and miles meetup in Chicago. I don't know if it's our first, but you know, it's kind of all of us our first. And we finally nailed down some more information on that, right, Serena?
Yes, we will be staying at the Hyatt Regency O'Hare. So previously we thought we were going to be at the Rosemont, but we decided to change the location. We have a suite there and we want to invite those of you who are coming out to join us there to have some fun.
So we're excited to meet all of you on June 25th in Chicago. Can't wait to see you guys there.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you RSVP because there's going to be a big party in a suite. Serena, you've got another meetup too, right?
Yes, I haven't mentioned this on the show yet, but on May 18th, it's a Saturday. If you are in the San Francisco Bay Area, I will be hosting a meetup with some points and miles friends. I will be there with Eric from the Travel Points Dad, Lauren from This Is How We Do Trips, and Chris from the Frugal Tourist. We last had a meetup in October and we had a lot of fun. So we're doing it again. I will include the RSVP link in the show notes if you're interested in coming. We are a fun, casual group of people and very welcoming. So we would love to have you if you are in the Bay Area that weekend.
It sounds like fun. That is a great group of people you got there, Serena. Maybe I should fly for that. That would be fun.
You should.
Spirit. Go in spirit.
Exactly.
Oh dear. Moving on. All right. So we've
Wait a minute. Speaking of spirit, do we have a flight booked, Mitch?
Yes.
Yeah, I've booked a flight.
Yay!
Wait. A little louder for the people in the back by the lav, please.
Okay.
Where you're going to sit.
No, I'm not going to sit anywhere. I followed the rules to the letter. So I booked the cheapest fare. I didn't go to the airport though to book it. So I didn't do that, but I booked it. I did not pay for a bag. I did not pay for a seat. I did not pay for the big comfy seat up front. I followed all the rules. So it's booked.
This is
Good job.
great. We can't wait to follow along. And I know some of our fans are very excited to watch this too.
Yeah, we'll make it a big deal. We'll get some footage. We'll make
I'm sure he'll make it look like first class with his video.
Of course, right? Of course he will.
Okay, but before we get started tonight, I think we need to talk about what we're all wearing here. Seems we got some nice little gear going on here, right?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
perfect for the summer in Miami.
Sure.
Nicole actually lost her shirt.
Hold on, let me hydrate.
Yes.
Rena.
We must hydrate.
Let me hydrate too. Let's hydrate.
I didn't bring mine. I can still hydrate.
Miguel, you cannot hydrate.
Miguel lost his.
Can you blur it out?
Yes.
Since they're not a sponsor.
They're not.
So we are wearing some new t-shirts by Seats.aero. Our sponsor was kind enough to send us these nice shirts. And they're actually really nice and comfortable. They have something on the back too.
Yeah, I like that in the back.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So when you're flying in business class, the people, in the back can figure out how we got there.
Exactly. We can connect with other people.
When I walked
Back to your seat.
exactly. When I make my rounds.
I got it. Exactly. I also like this beanie. I think it's going to come in handy for my marathon in the fall.
Thank you, Seats.aero.
Seats.aero is an amazing program and we all use it to find award availability. We also have a promo code. If you'd like to get 20% off the annual plan, our promo code is Let's Get 20. We'd also leave a link in the show notes below.
Also, if you want a shirt like the one we're wearing, if you're a pro user of Seats.aero and you want your own Seats.aero t-shirt, we're going to have a link down in the show notes. We're going to be doing a giveaway. There's a limited amount of free shirts and it's first come, first serve. So make sure you click on the link and get your shirt.
Thank you, Seats.aero. All right, we've got a lot to talk about tonight, so we're going to start with a topic that some people might find a little bit embarrassing or, resistant to talk about. So we're going to talk about our points and miles mistakes that we've made over the years, and we're going to share them with you. So I think what's helpful to some is when we have these discussions, and it's not so much to shame us or, make others feel bad, but I think there's a lot of opportunities here to learn from what others might think of as mistakes or errors that we have made. So we're going to start with Serena, and I know you've got a list for us, right?
I do have a list because I've made a lot of mistakes. And, you out there, I don't want you to feel bad if you make mistakes too, because that's just part of this hobby. You make the mistakes and then you learn from them and you move on. So here are some of mine. I have actually mentioned some of these in the past in previous episodes, but some of these are new too. So here we go. So closing Amex cards within a year of when I opened them. As some of you may know and may have watched some of our previous episodes, this landed me in Amex pop-up jail on the consumer side. I used to think that, let me just close this card now so I don't have to worry about it later. But instead, I need to have good record keeping. I need to make sure that I'm not closing a card before a year, especially with American Express. And not only can you land in pop-up jail, they might claw back your welcome bonus too. Another one is opening too many cards at once and not being able to meet all of the sign-up bonuses. So at one time I thought, wow, these bonuses are so nice. I'm going to sign up for all 3 of them at the same time. But then I realized toward the end of the period that I didn't have the spend that I needed. So I had to forfeit the bonus on one of the cards. I think most people, when they open a card, they think, what am I going to use these points for? But for me, I actually open a card and I think, how am I going to meet this minimum spend? Based on this mistake, I learned that I need to make sure that I can meet the spend in the time allotted. And I have to think about, do I have any big purchases coming up that I could put on this card? Another one that I think Nicole really likes is when I redeemed United Miles for an iPad.
I think like is a strong word, okay? Maybe like loathe.
Loathe. Wow, is that bad? Well, at the time it made sense for me. And there may be a time where redeeming miles for merchandise might make sense for you. And I'm not going to judge you for it. But I
will. I totally judge you.
So I think it's important to note that was poor value for my United Miles. And I didn't know any better at the time. And at the time, I thought, it was actually a discount. They were discounting the United Miles needed to get the iPad. And I thought, we want one. The iPad just came out. It was a new thing. And I thought, oh, it'd be cool to have. So redeeming points and miles for merchandise or gift cards usually isn't a great deal. You get much greater value out of your points and miles when you use them towards travel. Another one is avoiding annual fees. I was very, very frugal. I still am very frugal, and I didn't want to pay more for anything than I had to. So I really avoided any of the cards with annual fees on them. And then what I've come to learn over time is that the travel cards that are the most valuable will have an annual fee on them, and that it's okay to pay for an annual fee as long as the welcome bonus and the perks that you're getting from the card outweigh any fee that you're paying on the card. And another one is putting all my purchases on an airline card. So I used to put all my charges on a no annual fee United Airlines card. That's probably how I got all those miles to redeem for the iPad.
It's like, that's how she got the iPad.
So, back then I didn't know about flexible currencies like Chase and American Express. I didn't know how valuable having flexible transferable currencies were, and that they're way more valuable than having airline or hotel cards by itself. And also I went to this period where I also put all my charges on a no annual fee cashback card. And I think cashback cards are great for someone like me who loves to travel, and I like to travel a lot. Putting all my spend on travel cards makes more sense and will give me more in return if I'm putting all that spend on a travel card instead of a cashback card.
It's good now that we know we have places like this. We have the Meetup, we have podcasts, we have YouTube channels where people can be informed as to, what would be other uses for their points. Like you said, everyone's situation is different. So for some, cashback might be okay. For some, flexible currencies are okay. But for everyone, an iPad should not be okay. I'm like a dog with a bone. I'm not letting this iPad thing go.
That's okay. I learned my lesson.
So we're going to have two no words on here. One's the iPad and one's Etihad.
And they're both Serenas.
And they're both Serenas, yes.
Oh, I want everyone to learn from my mistakes.
Yeah, so I don't think cashback cards are bad. Some people prefer the cashback, and that's fine. But personally, I see it this way. So if you have a cashback card and you're getting, say, 2%, those 2%, those 2 points that you get is always going to be worth 2 cents. Now, for example, if you're earning 2 Capital One Venture miles for every dollar instead, they could be worth 1 cent, 2 cents, 3, 4 cents. There's no ceiling depending on how you redeem them. So if you redeem them for, obviously a business class flight or something like that, you're going to get a lot more than 2%.
Good point.
So pick whatever best suits your needs. If you prefer cashback, that's fine. And we're not here to judge. Well, Nicole might judge you if you redeem for an iPad, like she said. But if you prefer cashback, that's fine too. And if you like to travel, you probably get more bang for your buck if you earn flexible currencies.
I think the most important thing is that you're getting something for your spend. Mitch always talks about at least getting 2 points back for every dollar that goes out. So get something back. I just found out I had a friend. She was actually paying to have a checking account. I was hard judging her, like terrible judging her.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean? You pay them to hold your money? So people are not aware that, the financial sector can reward you for your business instead of charging you for your business. No iPads and no paying for checking accounts, please. No.
Yeah, those are great points. And, there are some very, very nice cashback cards out there too. Some of them paying even 3% or higher. So if you look closely, you can find them. And, like I always say, diversifying is always great too. If you want to put some spend on travel cards, some spend on high cashback cards, that's great too. That cashback can be used for the things that you can't redeem points and miles for on your travels, right? Okay. And then lastly, I want to talk about how Amex clawed back my points. So Amex offered me this upgrade with a bonus. I think it was from some blue cash card, and then they wanted me to upgrade to a everyday preferred card. I had to make a minimum spend, and then they were going to give me a bonus, so I took it. But then when the fee was due, I forgot about that bonus that they gave me. I can't remember. I either canceled it or downgraded it. It was within a year, and then Amex clawed back the upgrade bonus. And then when they did that, I realized, oh my gosh, that's like wasted spend. So the lesson for me for that was just to remember, Keep your cards open longer than a year. Keep good records so that doesn't happen to me again.
Yeah, Serena. So I actually got some points clawed back from Amex as well. And I would say this is probably my biggest mistake. And that is that I had a retention offer on the Amex Platinum, and we were supposed to spend $3,000 to get 45,000 points, which is great. And then I ended up using that card for a flight for a mistake fare, about $2,100 worth. That mistake fare ended up getting canceled, and I forgot that I had, used that $2,100 to reach the spending requirement for the retention offer. So once I got the refund after a few weeks, I had my points taken back. So I've had negative PTO, negative Amex points. So the other two mistakes that I wanted to share are regarding elite status and non-refundable travel. In one instance, I got IHG ambassador. There was some type of promotion where you could pay $200 to get IHG ambassador, and that was also going to give me IHG diamond. Wow. Okay. So I want to be a diamond. So I'll pay the $200. I was supposed to make up my money by using what IHG has for their ambassador program, which is buy one, get one free hotel night at Intercontinental. So I said, no problem. I'll have no problem getting this free night that's going to be worth more than $200. Well, the entire year went by, and it never made sense for me to book at Intercontinental to get my free night. So I just pretty much lost those $200 because I didn't really stay at IHG properties.
Yeah, that's a good point to really evaluate your upcoming year. Are you planning to stay at that chain at all? Will you use the status? People should probably evaluate that before they even go for it. Same thing with like Southwest Companion Pass, right? I think a lot of people go for it and they might not even use it very much.
I also paid the $200 for that status. Same mindset. Of course, I can find an Intercontinental that I can use, and a whole year went by and I was not able to use it. So I also lost $200 on that. But in the beginning, it's like, it's like a new toy. Like, okay, I want status here. I want status here. As you get more into the hobby of this, you realize not every deal is worth chasing. It's hard sometimes, but it's a lesson to learn.
I guess the question I got for you, Miguel, is why did you even want that status in the first place? Was it because you saw it, you were influenced by it, or was it more like, oh yeah, I'm going to use this? What was that point that really made you want to get that status in the first place?
Well, I think that that promotion was actually leaked to the public. It wasn't supposed to be public. So I was like, oh, let me jump on this, kind of like book now, plan later type of thing. I said, let me get this status right away before they pull this offer, and I'll figure out a way to squeeze value out of it. And I didn't, and I find myself in that situation again because there's currently a status match to British Airways, and I can match my promotional Delta status to British Airways. So I'm like, okay, let me match this status to British Airways. And then, but in order to keep it or to extend it, you have to book a one world flight between the US, Mexico, or Canada and Europe round trip. And it needs to be a cash fare. So now I'm like trying to find a cash fare, and I'm like, next thing I know, I'm looking at $2,000 flights that I don't need because I'm not planning to go to Europe just to keep this status. No. So I might do the status match, but I'm not going to extend it.
El Paso to Mexico. Can you do that? Would that count?
No, I got to go across the Atlantic, I think. And the other one deals with non-refundable travel. So sometimes you get really good deals with non-refundable travel, but it's non-refundable. And if you don't make it, you will lose out on that money. When there is some type of special event, the hotel prices skyrocket. So last year I went to Rio for a carnival, and I said, you know what, I want to come back next year. So let me book a hotel room as soon as the window opens so I could do it at a better rate. So I did that, and I didn't know it was non-refundable. I had this booking the whole year, and I was like, I'll probably get to go. A couple of weeks before the hotel stay was scheduled, I said, you know what? I'm not going to make it out there. Let me cancel it. And then I called and they said, sir, this is prepaid and it's non-refundable. I spent over $500 for 2 rooms that I couldn't get my money back for. Now, if I would have gone, it would have been 2 rooms, $2,000 value at the rates that were going on at the time. And I would have felt great about saving so much money, but I didn't. I lost $500, and I did consider flying over there just to not just to not waste the $500. And I was like, okay, stupid. I'm going to spend more money getting there. Just let it go. It's a sunk cost, and I lost $500.
Do you think if you were titanium, they would have done something about that for you? I'm curious.
No, I don't care about that.
Short answer, no.
I think with us, especially because we're booking stuff all the time, right? It's very easy to overlook the cancellation policy. For example, the Grand Hyatt Deer Valley. It's a new property that's now bookable. So I jumped on it, right? And I sent a Twitter message, X app message to the Hyatt concierge team and said, oh, these are my dates. I'd like to book this. And then luckily they came back to me and said, this has a 30-day cancellation policy. And that was a surprise to me because I never look at the cancellation policy at all. So I'm really glad that they pointed that out to me because it's not very clear sometimes when you're booking.
And sometimes I don't even think it's not clear. I think it's more what you said, that we're so used to it. You're like, you have 24 hours, you're a globalist, so you can cancel, no problem. But there were very few hotels that have that. So the Eliza Jane in New Orleans around the Essence Fest, that was non-refundable, not even 30 days. You either book it or you lose it. And that's with cash or with points. Forces you to double check. But it's good on the X app because they always in text message reply to you and say what the cancellation policy is. That's why we don't chase status with Marriott.
Well, that's why you don't.
Yeah.
Miguel's still going for it, right?
I have one more weekend to go.
Miguel, I would rather pay a little bit extra for a refundable item than book something non-refundable. I don't know. That's about me maximizing and optimizing, something like that. My travel F-ups start way before points and miles. I remember my first one distinctly. I was pregnant with my son, so this is about 18 years ago. We were in Atlanta and I wanted to come home to Miami, and I booked the ticket from Miami to Atlanta. And a few hours later, I realized it. I don't think there was a rule where you could change within 24 hours. I literally called the ticket agent and was crying. She goes, ma'am, I can rebook you, but it's going to cost $180. I'm pregnant and I have like mommy brain. And she's like, would you like to use a credit card to pay for that?
No sympathy.
No, and it wasn't even 24 hours, but that was the beginning of the end. Fast forward to a couple of years ago, we were going on our first ski trip, a Jamaican in Denver with skis. It was going to be so much fun. We get to the airport and I'm typing in the little kiosk to get our boarding pass. It says like, there's an error. I try it again. There's an error. So I check on my phone. Apparently our flight is from Miami, not Fort Lauderdale. By the way, I live in Miami and then I drove to Fort Lauderdale. So find out that I have to go back to Miami. So we got to the airport and that's when Spirit had first started flying from Miami. So the line was crazy because there was a Colombia flight.
Get ready, Mitch.
No, it's just because it's Colombia. I don't know what is with Spirit and flying to Colombia, but it's a mission. It's a whole thing. And we had bags. Skipped the entire line, walked up and like, sir, we are going to miss this flight. We dropped the bags. And I think maybe that's where I started training for my marathon because we ran. Us and the kids ran. And I think that flight, a lot of people got left because they were behind the people going to Colombia. So far, I've booked it in the wrong direction. I went to the wrong airport. Just the other day, I booked the wrong date.
This is a new one, recent one.
To our meetup.
You can't blame mommy brain on this one.
I cannot. Fine Flights for Me had posted about Q Suites availability and I was like, I'm on it. We're going to go somewhere for Thanksgiving. I picked the wrong week for Thanksgiving. Apparently it's not the 20 something, but it could be the third week, the fourth. I don't know what the US is doing with Thanksgiving.
Super late this year.
Later, yeah.
Well,
that's an understandable mistake.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
See, I'm not going to judge you, but you can judge me on the iPad. That's fine.
All right. Thank you. And that was the most recent one.
Did you actually book that and did you get it fixed?
So I did get it refunded. They charged me the $50 fee and I was able to find another flight out of different airports. So it did work out. It did have a happy ending. All right. So more mommy brain. So booking our Christmas trip, going to Japan, booked the ticket, and I'm going through my American Airlines app and realize I put the wrong name in for my son. Instead of putting his first name, last name, I put his first name, middle name. And so I had to put in a request and apparently they're not going to change it until closer to the fight. So I had a little bit of my heart is nervous every day because every time I open the app, I see James' middle name. And I'm like, I need you to fix this so I can feel better about myself. But the reason not that this is an excuse, but I have two James. And so I always try to put the middle name so that when we go to check in, there's no confusion as to which James it is. Anyone has two of the same names? I've done the same thing. Let me know in the comments if you have ever put the wrong name on your reservation or is it just a me thing? Please, don't let me feel alone. I need company. Let us know what are some of the like unique mistakes that you've made. Something you think someone probably has never done. And I guarantee you, probably one of us have done it.
You know, when I was booking my Japan Airlines business class flight coming home from Japan, I did it very close in, like 2 weeks before we were supposed to fly. And I had the wrong name for my daughter on the ticket too. I don't think it was me putting it in. I think the agent did it wrong because I booked the whole thing through the chat feature on the AA app. And then I realized it later. So I'm at Tokyo Disney waiting in line for a ride and I had to chat with them to have them fix it. They were able to eventually, but it took a while to get them to do it.
Yeah, what they explained to me is that they do it in date order. And since her flight is not till December, oh, okay, if you say so. And I've called several times to make sure, is this true? I hung up, call again. You know, I hooked, whatever.
Hukka? You mean
sure.
Hukka?
Yeah. To make sure the story was straight with everyone, that everyone at American Airlines had the same story. So I booked a Qatar Airways flight. We have 2 in business class, 2 in economy. In the booking, I noticed there was this button that says, would you like to add lounge access? And I was like, yeah. And it was $126 for 2 people. And I'm like, this must be a deal. This must be a one-time only deal that I can get into the business class lounge for 2 people at $26. I bought it. And then I texted Miguel and he's like, that's not the business class lounge. He was like, that's a priority pass lounge that you already have access to. I called to try and get it credited. No refunds. I'm like, can I use it for a seat assignment? No. So $126 down the drain. You know what I was thinking? Maybe I could give that access to, I don't know, take somebody into the lounge with me for free so I feel better about myself. Try to minimize that mistake. That's what I'm going to try to do. Those are my faux pas. You know, when I said F up in the beginning, I meant faux pas ups. No. We don't need a cuckoo clock here. Yeah, but it's easy, especially when you're booking at the rate. Sometimes we're booking late at night, an alert comes up. You want to make sure you jump on the deal to mix up a name or mix up a date or something like that. But I would say that I wouldn't trade in the amount of travel I had for having a perfect reputation of never making a mistake. I think the only reason we're coming across these mistakes is because, you know, we're taking the opportunity to adventure to different places. We're jumping on opportunities to maximize our points. You would not be making mistakes if you were doing something. So that's my silver lining.
Okay, Nicole, that's a really good point because that kind of leads into what I wanted to share and I wanted to talk about tonight. So as I was preparing for our show tonight, I was thinking, where do I want to go with this? What do I want to say? What do I want to share? Because I'll be honest, I've had some really big mess ups over the years, but here's the thing. I don't know if I'd really call these, mistakes or errors. And it's not that I'm, being pompous or proud in any way, but I like to think of it more of what was right for us in the time that it was in. So I got a couple stories I want to share. So here's this one first. I want to provoke a little bit of thought and a little bit of discussion about this. So I love it, Serena, when you have mentioned over our show period, how it's your miles, do what you want with them. And for the most part, I've always kind of believed that motto for myself. So, for example, years ago, when we had gotten into points and miles, we had a list of flights that we wanted to take. And one of them that we wanted to do was Thai Airways first class. Now, at the time, it was somewhat of a talked about redemption, and it was kind of out of the way too, meaning you had to fly to Thailand. It wasn't easy by any means getting there. And instead of churning credit cards or getting sign up bonuses, I'd purchased United Miles straight out, paid for them, the cost of $3,500 for both of us for this redemption, first class, Thai Airways, Bangkok to Sydney, just to take this flight. I know what you're saying. Who in their right mind would pay that much for points and miles for a flight, right? Really stupid. But now when I look back at it, it was more important to my husband and myself to try this airline. We love Thailand. We wanted to try Thai Airways. And this was a first class experience. You could get a free massage at the lounge at Suvarnabhumi Airport. The ground experience was great at the time. It was on their 747 and it's an iconic plane to some of us people. We loved it. Great memories, great pictures that we had of this. At the time, was this a smart redemption? Or was it a mistake? Now, looking back at it, so where we are now, Thai Airways first class, it's pretty much gone. You can only get it on a very few selected routes. And the ground experience, it's not the same. Their 747s, they're gone. And it's funny because I just saw on their Facebook page for Thai Airways, they're giving a retirement party to their 747 and they brought the plane into the hangar and they've taken all the engines off of it. And it's just this bare bones plane. It was kind of weird for this retirement party that they're having for this aircraft. You know, now that I'm looking back at it, was that a mistake? Should I have not bought those miles and skipped that trip and that flight? Should I have churned a couple of credit card bonuses? Should I have found some different United cards? Was there a different way that I should have done this? It's the emotion that plays into this and the memories that I'm kind of struggling with. Was it a mistake or not? What do you think?
Well, the way how you talk about it and how you loved it and the experience and the pictures, it sounds like it was a great value. You sound like you got a very big bang for your buck.
So for me to answer this, what was the cash price at the time?
Yeah, so let's get to the
I don't know if that was a good deal.
So the cash price, it was like $10,000 per person for this flight.
That'd be good.
Approved. 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 The auditor approved.
Oh, good.
That's not a mistake, Mitch. That's not even an F-up.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's a lot of money, though, to pay for a flight that's only like, 9-10 hours.
No, that's not bad. What's that? $1,700 for a 10-hour flight? I mean, it's a little bit more than what the internet say you should pay, but did you have fun? Yes. Was it worth it? Absolutely.
So at the time when you were booking, did you have some hesitation with it? What was your thought process when you were booking it?
It's a good question. So the only hesitation when I was going through that is like, this is a lot of money to pay for points and miles because, you read all these blogs, you get caught up in this stuff and you're like, oh, I can get this first class flight for free. I can get this and I can get this. But at the time I wasn't, as advanced as I wouldn't even say I'm advanced now, but I wasn't to that level of where I could get a couple of cards to do this. So at the time for me, it was like, I really want to do this. I really want us to experience this. And at the time, the cash just kind of made sense, I guess.
Especially if now that's an experience that you wouldn't be able to get at all, right? So looking back, hindsight is always 2020, right? Of course, that was such a great choice because now you don't have that opportunity anymore because that aircraft retired, right? I think it was a great experience and well worth it, especially if it was something that you wanted to do.
Yeah, it's hard though, because you always struggle with like the cash and the price, but it's interesting when you look back on these, right? Like all these mistakes that you guys have made and that you've shared, when you look back at them, what do you take away from that? What's a takeaway for you?
My biggest takeaway is thinking about, did I remember losing that $180? Like in the moment, right? Your $1,700, it felt like, ooh, that's a lot of money. But when you think about 2-3 months, were you not going to the grocery store? Did you stop paying certain bills, or did it just figure out a way for you to recoup that cost? And if so, hang on to that memory because this situation is going to come up again. And you're like, if I recovered from that $1,700 back then, will I be able to recover from the use of this money? And if so, do it again. Hell yeah, do it again. And do it twice on Sundays.
So going back to my iPad mistake, Nicole. I mean, looking back, do I regret spending those United miles on the iPad? No, not really. Because to me, I feel like, well, I could just earn more miles in some way, right? And at the time, it made sense to me. We weren't traveling. We wanted an iPad. Might as well use these miles. At the time, they expired. At the time, it made sense for me. Looking back at it now, I don't regret it, but it also is not a great redemption and definitely not something that I would do again, knowing what I know now.
I guess a couple of takeaways that I have from that, Mitch, is that like you learn from your mistakes. So you're better at doing this because you've made those mistakes. You've gone through that. And the second thing is about balance. So maybe I lost $200 by not using my IHG ambassador status, but how much have I gained from other travel where I've redeemed points because, I've learned along the way, partly due to making mistakes, how to get, good redemption. So I think it still balances out.
So like net, we're winning.
Yes.
Right?
You have to pay to play. That's how it is.
Just like your annual fees, Serena, say losing by paying annual fees, but you're winning a lot more with the travel you're doing. So there's the net positive.
Okay. Do we have time for one more? Because this one will be really quick. So just one more. If you want a real mistake from me, a real let's talk about this little love letter that I got in the mail last night.
It's a new one.
Oh, this is a brand new one right here. So come home, got the mail, found out that a recent payment has been returned on my Emirates Skywards MasterCard account.
Wait,
Emirates?
What credit card is that?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even know that they have one of those. Yeah.
They do, and I'm not even sure where to.
You have it.
I have it. I'm not even sure.
Tape.
It wasn't in your wallet, was it?
It wasn't in your wallet last week.
No, it was not. That's right. I'm not even sure where to start with this story, like why I have this card or why the payment was late.
First of all, what spend are you putting on that card? Let's start there.
Okay.
There's so many more questions. Do you have the A&A card too?
Oh, wow. Great question. That's where we'll start. Why do I have this Emirates Skywards card? All right. So Emirates, just like Marriott, they have their moments type of package at Emirates, right? So I was trying to get some tennis tickets to go to Australia in January.
I knew it had to do with Australia, tennis.
Right. So here's the clinger, the catcher. Where they have changed last year is you now have to have status with Emirates in order to bid on these packages. And this was just only for the Australian ones. So I come to find out if I got the card, it would give me silver status, which would then let me purchase these tickets with points. So that's why I got the card, was I wanted to test if I got the status, if it would let me get these tickets, if it would work or not. So it was like a total fail all around because I got the card.
Oh no.
Right? And
That's like your long way to Melbourne.
yeah.
LAX, Doha, Melbourne.
I didn't even get the status in time to even try to purchase these tickets. So that was fail number one. Fail number two is last week when I was on the cruise, I got to put off paying my bills. Like when you're on vacation, you just kind of let that stuff go, right? So I think I paid it, but here's the thing. They say in this letter, we were unable to locate your external bank account. And to me, what that says is I punched in the wrong checking account number when I went to go pay my card. So now I got this little mess that I got to deal with Barclays, all for a card that I'd got for, that you're all judging me on why I got this.
What was the sign-up bonus on that?
God, it gets worse. So it was 30,000 points.
Hang up on him, please. Click.
The one Amex referral.
Yeah. What? Yeah. I was. Yeah.
How much did you have to spend?
I had to spend $3,000 on the card.
Hang up the phone.
And you said it didn't work for the tickets?
I don't know, because by the time that I could have gotten the tickets, my status still hadn't posted yet because it was delayed. It took them like probably 7-8 weeks for them to update my status on my Emirates account. So I don't know. By that time, it had already passed and the packages were gone, so I couldn't purchase them. But I'm prepared for next year because I get the status for a whole year. And
Wait a minute. Does this card have an annual fee?
It does.
And is this a personal card?
Wow.
Is this a 524 slot?
It is. Yes.
Oh my God. It just keeps getting worse.
I know, right? And you thought the iPad was bad.
Oh my God.
We'll find out next year if it works or not. But yeah, little mess there I got myself into.
Serena, you now get a pass.
Thanks, Nicole.
Wow. So is that as good as the iPad story? Was that worth a share?
Oh yeah. I now know somebody who has an Emirates card.
Wait, Mitch, is that bill past due now?
So I was freaking out. So I got the letter. I was freaking out last night. I'm like, what the hell do I do now? So I immediately made a payment and I retyped in my information again. And I think I got it right. But here's the thing, right? So I was on the chat with my bank today and I'm like, can you tell me why this payment got rejected? And they're like, well, I don't know. We don't see anything. And then I call Barclays and they're like, oh, well, we can only tell the last 4 numbers of your checking account. So I'm like, great. I can't even figure out where this error came from or what I did wrong to screw this up.
Well, Barclays is all on their own.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about Barclays.
Yeah.
I have the aviator card, right? I have the personal and the business. So at my 1-year anniversary for my business card, I didn't get an annual fee charge. So I was like, cool, free pass. It took him like another 6 months to send me a letter, be like, oops, we forgot to charge you the annual fee. Here's the annual fee. I was like, well, I don't want it anymore.
You should be good, Mitch, as long as it's not more than 30 days past due, they don't have to report it. You might still get the late fee, but I don't think they'll report it on your credit, especially if it's a one-time thing.
Yeah, that's my plan is like, I was going to try to call and beg for forgiveness and see if they would waive all that. But here's the other thing too, is like, I don't know if this is like American Express. Like if you have a missed payment or a late payment with American Express, you kind of get put in this like penalty type jail where if you try to apply for a new card, they won't approve you because you kind of had this missed payment or whatever.
Higher risk.
Yeah, because I'm wanting to get the Hawaiian card for Alaska
He has a plan
miles.
for that one. He's got a plan for that one.
That one too.
Also had a plan for this one. How did that work out?
He's got another science experiment to see if he can do something.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just hope I'm not in too bad of a shape or jail with Barclays at this point. Okay, I think we've had enough judgment about my Emirates Skywards MasterCard. Enough of that.
It'll come back another episode. Don't worry.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, can't wait. All right, let's move on. Up next, it's our weekly recap.
Let's Get to the Points is brought to you by Seats.aero.
Right after you get up, you check Seats.aero for availability for your flights.
And how many alerts do you have for that setup?
Thankfully, Seats.aero doesn't limit me on alerts. So let's say about a F ton.
I've got 5,200 alerts on Seats.aero right now.
No way. Impossible.
Oh my God, 5,200. I saw that and I was like, wow.
I need proof. I need you to put it on the screen so I can see.
I have like 3.
Everything gets thrown on it.
Well, it's good to know that you could put 5,000 plus alerts on Seats.aero.
I've proven it.
The fastest search engine for award travel. Explore availability across entire regions. Search with instant results. Create free alerts and more to find the best flights for your points. Seats.aero.
All right, it's now time for our weekly recap where we share our tips and tricks with you from the stuff that we've recently booked. And we're going to start with Miguel and find out what he unbooked this week because that's how he participates in this segment. So what did you cancel, Miguel?
Yeah, I told you I should be disqualified from this section because I cancel a lot of stuff. I rebook stuff. But yeah, so I guess what I unbooked is we are canceling our Bahamas trip.
Oh no. I really wanted to get your take on it. Well, I wanted to know if your kids had fun there.
Oh, they would have. Don't worry. I can tell you they would have had fun.
The question is, would his wallet have had fun?
So technically, I still have it booked. We do have some competing priorities for that schedule for those dates. And unfortunately, I had booked the JetBlue Mint, which I was looking forward to, but that was kind of a sale that I'm not going to be able to find just right now to rebook the Bahamas. So I'm just going to have to cancel it. So technically I still have it booked, and my outgoing flight to the Bahamas was on United. I paid for half of that with United Travel Bank credit and the other half with cash. And there was a schedule change of about 3 minutes. So I was trying to get a refund because of the operational change. And they said, no, sorry, it has to be 30 minutes. So I've had luck with that before where they made some schedule changes by a few minutes and they would say, okay, yeah, here's your refund because we made a change. So I'm hoping they do another change in the next few weeks that will allow me to get a refund on that ticket. So I still have everything booked, but yeah, we're not going to make it this summer.
All right, so I got a book and an unbooked since Miguel said that. So I have 2 stories for you. One about what I booked and what I am thinking about unbooking. Thanks to one of our partners, MaxMyPoint, I was able to find 3 nights at Hyatt House Shibuya right around the time for New Year's Eve, somewhere in there. And the best part is I was able to find a standard suite that fits 4 adults. That is my love language. 4 people in one room. It's going to be tight, but as long as the fire code allows it, we're okay with it. It's 27,000 points, which I think is a steal, especially in Japan.
Because it's either that or 2 rooms, which would be double that,
Yeah, I still have some alerts set. There are some rooms, I think Hyatt Regency Tokyo is 18,000 points. And for the price difference, I would spend the extra to get 2 of those rooms. But let's see how it goes. If I get those, then I would switch. That's the beauty of booking with points and miles and having MaxMyPoint so that it can alert you when new rooms pop up. So here is the unbooking story. You guys remember Nana, right?
Saw the video.
This video? She's going to kill me when she sees
Oh,
it.
yeah.
We were planning a trip to Turkey this summer. And I was so excited because I got 5 business class seat and was going to take her with us. So I got a call this weekend. I have to tell you too in my Jamaican accent because otherwise it doesn't sound like her. Nicole, I don't want to go to Turkey again. I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to go to Turkey anymore? She goes, I was watching the news and something is going on in Iran and they're part of the same landmass. So I don't want to go no more. I was like,
That's something my mom would totally say, just not in a Jamaican accent.
right. The only reason I'm sharing this is because I feel like we all have parents like that, some way, somehow.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
Miami and California is in the same landmass, and whatever's going on over there doesn't really affect. All right. I let it simmer for a little bit. I gave her a week. I called her back today. I was like, are you sure? She goes, yeah. All right. I don't want to go again. Okay. I'm going to hang on to the reservation. I don't think she's going to change her mind. But now that Miguel mentioned the thing about the schedule change, maybe I won't get charged a cancellation fee. Let's see how it goes because all the reservations are tied to each other. So we'll see how it goes.
Did you book this one with Turkish miles?
I did. And I was like, couldn't you have canceled before the devaluation? Seriously. But it is what it is. And then I have to figure out what to do with these Turkish miles now.
And what is their fee?
$70. The thing for me about the fees, since I already paid it, right? It's already on my credit card. I already paid that credit card off. It's a sunken cost, so I don't really think about it that much. And then I have an Air France flight for her that I now have to unbook. I feel those miles are easier to use than Turkish miles. So we'll see.
When I was planning my winter break trip last year and I was telling my mom we're going to go to Turkey, she said, oh, I don't think going to Turkey is a good idea.
You see?
And I said, well, you either go or not go because we're going. That's what I always say to my parents. Would you like me to book you a flight home? I can do that.
Well, she doesn't even want to leave home at this point.
I know. So I have some Mr. and Mrs. Smith news. I last talked about this back in episode 3 last year when Hyatt acquired Mr. and Mrs. Smith, right? It was big news back then. And we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for those properties to become bookable. And now they are.
Quick question. How was the audio in that show? Can we reference back to that one or is it?
No. No need.
No need. Okay.
We'll recap
No
it
need.
right now.
My vote is go back and watch it so we can get the views. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay.
But unfortunately, this is not something to get excited about. It seems Hyatt is using dynamic pricing on these properties. So you're likely to not get great value if you use points for redemptions. So there were 2 properties that I was really excited about for this acquisition. There is the Retreat at Blue Lagoon, which is in Iceland. And when I looked this up, I'm seeing rooms going for 124,000 Hyatt points per night. Now these rooms go for $1,400.
What the Hilton?
Exactly.
It sounds like a Hilton to me.
Yeah, these rooms are going for $1,400 a night. And so your cent per point value is only about 1 cent if you're paying this many Hyatt points. If you look at the riads in Morocco, there is the Riyadh Azhar. It is a more reasonable 14,000 points per night. But you know, the riads in Marrakesh are actually not very expensive at all. This one in particular is only about $147 per night. So you may not be getting great value out of your points if you're using Hyatt points to redeem here. And then another one that I was looking forward to was the Post Ranch Inn in Big Sur, California. This property is right across the street from Alila Ventana Big Sur, and Alila Ventana is very popular with Hyatt fans. And I thought it'd be really cool because across the street you've got Post Ranch Inn, which is another one you can use with Hyatt points. But that one is not available for points booking yet. And I don't even know if it ever will be, but I'm pretty sure that if it is going to be, it's probably going to be out of my points range.
Nothing is out of your range.
I do have a cap. So my thoughts about the Hyatt acquisition of Mr. and Mrs. Smith is meh. You know,
You were practicing that.
I know, right? It's in her notes. It's on the screen in like large letters.
Mitch, is that a good meh?
Yeah, but we could break out the game show music of the losers, you know? We could make a womp womp.
So if you are thinking about booking any of these Mr. and Mrs. Smith properties, I would look at the cash value of them, look at the points value and compare them. Also look at the cash value on both the Mr. and Mrs. Smith site and the Hyatt site because they could be different. From what I hear, Hyatt globalists may not get free breakfast at these properties either.
No.
So there's a lot to consider here. So I know this segment was all about what we booked, but I didn't book anything.
Which you thought you would have booked.
I thought I would have.
Exactly.
Yeah, I thought I would have. But it's a meh for me.
Once more with the sad trombones. Wah, wah. Yeah, so unfortunate news about that Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I was kind of hoping for better stuff, but, just did not turn out well this time. All right, before we move on, it's now time for Nicole's wins and losses. Nicole, wins and losses. What do you got to share with us this week?
I love receiving these every week. We get to see how people are using their points and miles to redeem for travel. So first up, we have Raja Min, 2016. She booked 3 business class flights on Air France from LAX to Poland and got 25% transfer bonus from Chase. Raja Min also able to get a discount for booking her child. All of this for 121 Chase points, plus taxes and fees. Next up, we have Let's Go See. I think I'm saying that right. Locked in the Andaz in Amsterdam for 19,000 points a night for July. All right. Anna L 231980 booked Q suites from JFK to Doha in business class and from Doha to Saigon for 2 people. And this week we have a special one. Our last win comes from our only and best guess, Find Flights for Me. He said he just booked his parents a flight to Korea on Korean Air and China Air back to the US in business class.
I want to try Korean Air.
Maybe you should get a Korean Air credit card.
There's a 70,000 point offer right now, and I'm looking at it.
Of course you are.
Of course you are, right? Because his Emirates card needs company.
That's right.
These should have went into the game show.
Well, no, we didn't know anyone that had them.
Now we do.
Now we do. Please keep sending us your wins and losses. I love to hear about your travel wins, and we also like to learn from your lessons. So send us some more and we'll see you next week.
Hi, this is Sky from sunny Los Angeles, California. We love to travel and always fly economy. So last year, I got an Amex Platinum and my P2 got an Amex Gold so we could transfer it to ANA to use for business class tickets. But after playing around on ANA's website, I find it difficult to find 2 round-trip business class award tickets, and miles expire after 3 years. I also don't like the Amex card and want to cancel it before it renews. So this is my question. I want to transfer my points somewhere before my Amex expires. Should I park them at ANA or somewhere else? What would you do? Love your show and wishing you all safe travels.
Hi, Sky. Thank you for your video question. And judging by your video, that sure is a pretty sunny and warm location where you are there in Southern California. All right, kids. Sky is looking for some advice about his American Express points, what he should do with them. Should he get rid of his American Express Platinum? Great question from him. I like it this week, and he's looking for some advice. Miguel, do you want to take on the how to book ANA?
Yeah, so ANA is not the best program to search for award availability. So what I would do is either search with the United Airlines and their calendar, or you can use Seats.aero and use the Explore or Search feature with United or Air Canada because they're both Star Alliance partners, which you should be able to find award availability from North America to Asia or Japan and back. What you want to do when you find dates that are available with Star Alliance partners is you want to go on the ANA website or their app, and what you want to do is the award redemption and choose multiple cities or mixed classes. That is going to give you the most flexibility to find award availability and to be able to book it. So with ANA, you do have to book round trip, but the round trip could be an open jaw. So you don't have to do a round trip, for example, let's say from LA to Tokyo. You could actually do maybe Chicago to Tokyo and then Osaka back to LA. So that gives you a lot more options to find something from North America to Japan and back, because when you're doing the multiple cities, it allows you to book it as a round trip, even though they're 4 completely different cities. So even though ANA recently had a devaluation, I still think it's a good deal when you're doing round trips, especially in business class, because you're going to be paying a few $100s for taxes. But overall, you're still getting a great value for one of those redemptions.
Hi, Sky. Congratulations on that stash of points. That'll be really nice when you're ready to redeem. So I know you have the gold and you have the platinum. When the annual fee posts, before canceling, we recommend asking for a retention offer first. So you can do this by logging into your American Express account and using the chat feature. And you want to do this during working hours, Monday through Friday, and they will put you in touch with someone in the retention department, and they may be able to offer you something that will entice you to even keep the card for another year. So whatever they offer you, you can evaluate it then and decide whether you want to keep or cancel. They may even give you a downgrade option as well. I've heard that recently the retention offers have been very good for the platinum card. Definitely seek that option first before canceling.
That's good advice, Serena. So I'll just tag on to that a bit. So here's what I would say in regards to moving and parking the points somewhere else. So my advice is don't do it, and you don't have to, because years ago, there was some really good advice going around for not losing American Express membership reward points due to closing the cards, canceling it, etc. What you were supposed to do, even now, is pick up a Blue Business Plus card. And I've always followed that advice, and here's why. So first, let's talk about why I think keeping the points parked at Amex is the best advice for now. I'm a big believer in keeping them at the bank level until you actually have a plan for them, because I feel like when I have points stashed somewhere, either one or two things happens, I forget about them and they're not the top of my mind, or, these programs, they got expiration dates, and I'm going to be honest, my little love note that I got from Barclays that I shared with you earlier, I need to do a better job of keeping track of my points. Now, there's been some high sign-up offers going around for the Blue Business Plus in the $75K range. In fact, I got one last year that I've talked about on the show as well. So if you're going to go this route, I'd really look at one of these high sign-up offers if you can get it. But here's why the Blue Business Plus is unique for American Express, and what I found to be true is it's one of the very few ways that you can actually keep your Amex points alive without having to pay an annual fee to do that. And that sounds like what you were asking about. You can still transfer to the travel partners, plus you get 2 times the points on all the spending for the first $50,000 each year. For me, it's kind of like a fail-safe way of keeping my American Express points safe if I cancel a gold, platinum, or kind of what you're talking about as well. You want to make sure that the membership rewards account numbers are the same for both cards if you do decide to cancel your platinum card. So the Blue Business Plus credit card, it's a great way. I know it's going to eat up one of your slots with American Express because it is a credit card, but to be honest, I'm okay with that because, I only use this card on occasion. When I'm trying to get 2 points for every dollar that I spend, maybe I'll pay my insurance bills or something like that. Like Serena says, we got to diversify our points earnings, and this is a great card to kind of help you do that as well. Just remember, there are foreign transaction fees on this card, which, speaking of mistakes, I've made that one a couple of times as well. So there's something to keep in mind there. Nicole, what are you going to tell Sky?
It's funny you bring up the mistake about the foreign transaction fees, because that's one we tend to forget about with American Express, because we're usually dealing with the platinum or the gold card, and we forget they do not charge a foreign transaction fee. So when you go to the Blue Business Plus, sometimes you forget about that. So let's say you decide that you don't want to be with Amex anymore and you want to use your points and transfer them to a partner. I would highly suggest, if that's the route you're going to take, to select a partner that you will use in the future, and if you can tie it to a transfer bonus, that will maximize your points. So currently, Amex has a 30% transfer bonus to Virgin Atlantic. So for every 1,000 points that you transfer to Virgin Atlantic, you'll get 1,300 points. So that's a way to stretch your points out and get more bang for your buck. So I know this is not a popular opinion to transfer points without an immediate redemption in mind, but I have transferred points speculatively before, and this is just for me, and it has worked out. That's how I was able to book flights going to Europe, and we were able to get them with a transfer bonus of 30%. You have to see what's best for you. It's always a risk when you're taking it, but that's part of the game.
And also, I wanted to add that if you're not comfortable or don't want to get a business card, American Express also has the Amex Everyday Card, which is a personal credit card. And that one also has no annual fee, and you can also earn membership rewards points to keep them alive. If you do decide to get another American Express card, you could refer between yourself and your player too. The current promotion that American Express has until May 22nd is that if you refer somebody, you can earn an additional 10 points per dollar for dining. And whoever you refer doesn't have to get the same card you're referring from. So if your player 2 has the gold, they can refer you to the Everyday Card or the Blue Business Plus card, and they would get an additional 10 points per dollar for dining. And if the Amex Gold is already getting 4, that's 14 points per dollar for dining. It's a pretty good deal.
And Sky, when you and your spouse are referring each other for these extra cards to keep your American Express points alive, when you refer, you're also getting a referral bonus. If you took our advice to keep the cards, if Amex offered you a retention offer, that is all stackable, meaning the spend that they're requiring for the retention offer will stack with the extra 10x that you're getting on dining as well. So you're getting all those extra points from doing all these things.
That is some great advice, you guys. Thank you for sharing all of that. And Sky, thank you for your video question as well. We really appreciate it. Let us know what you do, will you? It's so easy for you to be on our show. Simply drop us a line on any one of our social media channels or visit our website, letsgettothepoints.com, and we'll answer your question right here. That's it for now. I want to thank all of our hosts. It's Serena.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Miguel.
Later.
And thank you too, Nicole.
No problem. See you guys next week.
And I'm Mitch Shannon. You can find out more about us at our website, letsgettothepoints.com, and we'll all see you here next Friday. Thanks for watching and listening.
Let's get to the points.com.